everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are really excited to bring you another interview with one of the cast of Good Witch this season. It's so exciting. Today, we are talking with Kyana Teresa. And Kyana, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you.
Yeah. So what we like to do is we like to start our interviews by asking you what inspired you to become an actress, and give you a chance to introduce yourself as well.
That is such a wonderful question. Hi, I'm Kyana, and I play firefighter Zoey Taylor on Good Witch. And I I wanted to be an actor from the time I was little. And I think what really inspired me was I was actually a really shy kid. Not so much anymore, but I was very shy and I didn't have a ton of friends. And I always felt like through watching TV shows and movies that I could kind of relate to these characters and I could express myself through their stories. It was really relatable to me. So I kind of just thought, wow, I wish that I could tell stories that other people can also relate to. And that was kind of the driving force for me. So I remember like anytime I would watch a show or something, I would go up to my room and I would reenact the scenes in the mirror. And and then, it kind of was in the back of my mind for a long time. I kind of put it away in a little box in my mind. And then about almost 5 years ago now, I decided to just pull the plug and go for it. And I quit my full-time job and I just jumped in with both feet and said, let's do this. Time's a ticking. I'm not getting any younger, so let's go.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of actors over the years of doing this podcast, and I think there's an impression that oh, they're really extroverted because they're performing and they're on stage or on on the film. But in my experience, I think it's actually more introverted than extroverted. That they do tend to be. A lot of actors tend to be a little on the shy side. It's I've seen that quite a bit, which is interesting.
Absolutely. Because I
Yeah.
feel like, yeah, in a way, it seems counterintuitive, but in a way, it's like you're trying on clothes or you're trying on a mask. You get to play as a new person, and it doesn't ever fall back on you. It's not a
Mhm.
reflection of you. It's just, well, I'm just the character. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like a safety mechanism,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No, it makes sense. It really does. So, do you remember the first role that you were ever cast in?
Ooh, yes. So I did commercials all through high school. My first acting role was on a CBC show in Canada called The Detail.
Hmm.
And it was a small part where I got to play this a drug addict. It was a cool group of young people. They were
Uh-huh.
bike messengers. They were at a party and we were all doing drugs.
Uh,
And and then something happened, somebody died, and we all had to go into the police station and get interrogated. And my debut was being kind of hungover, strung out, talking to this cop, and then I throw up into his garbage
oh
can.
my,
That was my debut to the world, was
your,
throwing up on television. It was great.
your parents were like, "Wait a minute here. What do we do?"
Like, guys, maybe don't watch this one. It's not, I don't look my best.
That's
And there's
funny.
nothing like having to fake throw up and make those sounds in a room with like 65 other people. Yeah.
Yeah, that must have
And
been an interesting audition. How well can you
oh my God. Oh,
fake?
yeah, for sure. I was
Yeah.
like, I'll just be very tired and I don't know. But I'll tell you a funny story. So, because it was my first ever time on a set like that, I remember looking for the bathroom and I was walking around. I found a bathroom and I went in the stall and I was about to use it. And then something in my mind was like, no, something's not right. Something's not right, Kyana, don't do it. And then I was like, oh, there's no water in the toilet. What does this mean? And then I realized this was a fake bathroom. It
Oh
was
my
a set. And it was so realistic. And I was like, thank God I caught myself just in time because I mean, I would feel for the poor person who would have to clean up after me, but there was no sign or anything. I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh my gosh, that is a really funny story. That would have been hilarious.
It was very realistic. It was
Yeah,
very realistic. There was just no plumbing.
good, good set. Well, you got to listen to your instincts then. This is proof.
Follow your gut,
Yeah,
man.
follow your
Yeah.
gut. Wow, that's a really funny story. So when you first started getting roles, did you have your kind of that thing you do freak out moment where, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I got this part.
When I first started getting them,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Very
I told
exciting.
everybody, "You just have a little celebration," but
Yeah.
I still do that.
Uh-huh.
I still get really
Yeah.
excited with every role,
Yeah.
um, because for me, like, this is my dream job. This is my
Hmm.
I being on set and working is my happy place. Like, I can't even imagine myself doing anything else at this point. So every time I get the opportunity to do what I love, it's a celebration because they don't come often for everybody, right?
Hmm.
You work so hard at it. And the thing is that there's so many no's, there's so many rejections, right? And especially when you get really
Yeah.
excited about a part and then you don't hear back, or you're so close to booking it and then you don't. So when you
Yeah.
finally get that, yes, you're booked. Oh, I'm over the moon. And we celebrate every time.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. So what was your quarantine experience like? Did you do any sourdough baking or any of the things like that?
So I really wanted to get into baking.
Uh-huh.
I have a bread maker,
Uh-huh.
which I really wanted to put to use, but could not find flour for the life of me. It was sold out
Oh, yeah.
everywhere. So I wanted to be a part of this trend, but I simply could not. It was not available to me. Um,
Wow, that was it's such a crazy time. I think back of that the hunting for
you couldn't get
toilet
toilet
paper
paper.
and
Yeah.
all of that. That was wild. That was
Cleaning
wild.
products, you couldn't get paper towels, all of that stuff. It was wild. And I never understood it, and I still don't understand it. The like hoarding of
Yeah.
supplies. Like, what do you
And
think's gonna happen?
poor
Like, why
moms
is
trying to
toilet
get
paper
formula for their children
there? Yeah.
uh, and baby wipes. That was madness.
It was crazy. So yeah, unfortunately, I didn't do too much of that, but my quarantine experience was very gratefully not that different from my regular life. I
Yeah.
tend to be a bit of a shut-in. I like to stay at home. I like to be in my house. So things didn't really change for me.
That's good.
Um, it gave me even more excuses to not go out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it was fine. It was fine. The hardest part for me was not being able to see my family,
Yeah.
right? But on the plus side, it did mean that we actually ended up talking a lot more than we normally do because we call each other more. Now we have like family Zoom chats, and it's a bunch of my extended family from all around the world. And I feel like without, the pandemic and what's going on, we never really would have done that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of good that
No,
came out of
it's
it as
true.
well.
It has pushed us all, I think, in different ways because we are, I don't know, it has pushed us all to interact in different ways than we would normally do. And you just take things hopefully a little bit less for granted than you might
Yeah,
otherwise.
I
So
think it helps put into perspective like
yeah.
what's important to you and what's not.
Yeah. So what's it like being on a big show like Star Trek Discovery?
Oh my goodness. I mean, that was such an experience.
Yeah.
I was really excited about it because my mom is a big Trekkie, and she's always been a big Trekkie, like my whole childhood. So I'd come home from school and she'd have the Space Channel on, and we would watch it. So I was really excited, not even for myself, but just to be able to share that experience with my mom and be like, I'm going to be on this. How like it's so full circle. Um, it was definitely like the most high level like production value kind of set that I had been on. and it was a little bit intimidating, but what I loved was the director was Black. The
Mhm.
hair and makeup people were people of color. It was
Mhm.
such a diverse crew, which even until today I haven't really seen. And the lead of the show was so lovely. She gave us the warmest welcome. So we came for rehearsal, first time kind of seeing everybody, meeting everybody. And she came right up to me and gave me this big hug and was like, "I'm so happy you're here. Like, welcome to the show." And I was like, "Oh my goodness." And
Mm.
after that, it was just everything kind of flowed. And I thought, when I'm a lead on a show, that's the kind of energy that I want to bring. And I want everybody to feel welcome and safe and um, valued to be here on the set.
Oh, well, that's great. Sneak with Martin Green, right?
Yeah.
Yep, yep. Oh, that's cool. That she was so welcoming, and also that they gave you the respect you deserve as far as having people who know how to do your hair and makeup and all of that. Like that's sadly not the case on many shows.
Yes,
Yeah.
such a big issue.
Mhm.
So it was just I have no complaints.
Yeah.
Everybody
Great.
was so lovely. I have such great memories from that, and I have friends that I've made now to this day that I still
Hmm.
talk to because I met them on Star Trek.
Well, what's it like being on that set? Just such a big set.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, so because we were shooting in the ship itself, in the hallways, we were doing this running scenes. It
Oh
didn't
yeah.
feel that big. Like we weren't in, how should I say?
Like the
We
cop.
weren't shooting in like many locations within the studio. It was kind of just
Hmm.
this one location. But it was so high tech. And I
Yeah.
doubt any of the tech actually worked, but it was very convincing. I
Hmm.
felt like I was on a spaceship,
Yeah.
which is a
That's
really
so
cool
cool.
experience.
Yeah.
And and then I got to do a scene in the sick bay, which was also really cool. And again, like you get to kind of play with these tech instruments and big dashboards with lights and all of these things, and you just kind of pretend that you know what you're doing. But it
Yeah.
was a really really cool experience. And again, the set was realistic, just like the bathroom.
That's cool. So then you did a Matchmaker Mysteries
Yes.
for, oh, that was your first for Hallmark, I believe.
I think that I'm trying to think if it was my first or my second. I did Matchmaker Mysteries, the first one. And then I was also in a Christmas movie called Double Holiday, which was
Mhm.
Hallmark's first Hanukkah movie, which
Yeah.
was really exciting. So I'm not sure which came first, but Matchmakers was definitely really fun. Getting to meet Danica McKellar was, you know,
Yeah.
super exciting. My dad was like, "Oh my God, I love her." Send
Like,
me a
"What?
picture. I was like,
I met
okay.
Winnie Cooper."
Yeah, exactly. Every like boy's crush, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, the people at work don't believe me that you're working with Danica McKellar. Like, can you send us a picture? And I was like, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Sure, Dad.
Were you the murderer? I can't remember.
No, no, no.
Okay.
I was a little suspicious though. I was playing a lawyer, and
Okay.
I was the lawyer to the man whose wife was murdered.
Oh, okay.
But I was also in love with him. So there was some
Uh,
conflict of interest there.
mhm.
And
So
so
you were
it made me a little suspicious looking, but
compelling
I
red
was
herring
innocent
there.
in the end. Spoiler alert, I didn't do it.
That's good. And so you've done a number of Christmas movies, and most of those are filmed in the summer. So what is that like? Are you just dying of eating those coats and everything?
You know, I have been very fortunate to not have to film in the summer.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
know. Most
Lucky.
people I know. So most of the films that I've done have filmed in like September, October, November even.
Uh-huh.
So while there may not be snow on the ground, it's still chilly. So I've
Yeah.
never been like hot in my coat. But I did just film something that will be coming out later this year for this Christmas called A Sisterly Christmas is what it's currently called. And we
Mhm.
shot that a month or two ago. And oh my goodness, I was sweating. Like makeup had to be powdering me the entire time. And those are rough because it's long days, it's multiple takes, and you're just
Yeah.
bundled up. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, I can only imagine. They have like the fans and you're making
Oh
sure you
yeah.
yeah, stay
Well,
stay hydrated.
a hack, and I don't know if I should, a little trick that somebody told me is if you want to know if they're filming like a winter movie in the summer, watch to see if you can see their breath when they talk.
Right. That makes
Because
sense.
if it was actually winter, there would be breath, but in the summer there's not. So that's kind of like a trick, a little movie magic behind the scenes.
Mhm. Yeah, I can imagine that would be difficult and just maybe a little bit hard to sort of get in the holiday spirit of things when it's like 100 and over 100 degrees, but they do an amazing good job.
They
You
do,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, but I will say I've also had to film in the dead of winter, and that's
it has its
almost
challenges
equally
too.
as not fun. I remember this one scene, and I was wearing like a thin coat. It wasn't I wasn't properly dressed. I should have been in a parka, but wasn't what my character wore. So I was in this thin coat and I had to say these lines, but my lips were numb. And so I couldn't say my lines properly because my lips were like just not doing what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then obviously the more you mess up, the more takes you have to do and the longer you're out there and the worse that it gets. So, it's tough on both ends.
Yeah. You're like, thankfully editing saves all.
Thank God. Oh, thank God. Fix it in post.
Yeah. We'd like to take a second from this episode of the podcast to celebrate our sponsor of this episode, and that is the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast?
Do you want an inside scoop into what happens on the podcast?
Do you want early access to episodes and loads of cool perks?
Now is the time to become a patron of Hallmarkies Podcast.
By becoming a patron, you get to access our patron Facebook group.
You can request episodes or even be a guest on the podcast.
And most importantly, any patron can join our monthly movie watch-alongs with stars like Paul Campbell, Natalie Hall, and more.
It's as low as $2 a month to join in and become a special part of the Hallmarkies family.
Please consider, and we will love you forever.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
So how did you become involved in this season of Good Witch? What was that look like?
So I had originally auditioned for a different role for Good Witch, and I sent in my audition tape, and my agent called me back and he was like, "Hey, so they really liked your audition, but they want to consider you for a different character that's coming up, a little bit later in the season, but the character's not written yet. So you can't audition for it because she doesn't exist, but they are writing it and they have you in mind." And I was like, "Oh,
Nice.
okay."
That feels good.
Yeah, I was like, "That's okay. This is so cool. Who is this mystery character that they're writing?" And when she was finally written and they put out the breakdown for the character, I auditioned, and yeah, I was really excited to hear back. And it was I knew that it was going to be the start of something really special, really exciting, and I think it was just meant to be.
Yeah. Did
I
you
liked
know the show? Were you familiar with it?
Not really. I think you're based in the States, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the show's like obviously very popular in the States. I'm not sure how big it is here in Canada.
That makes sense.
So I think I had heard of the show before, but I wasn't super familiar. I also didn't have cable. Like I didn't have a television to like be able to watch shows like that anyways. Um So no, I wasn't super familiar. I did watch like an episode or two on YouTube before the audition just to understand the tone of the show and who everybody is and stuff like that. But yeah, but I had worked for Hallmark before, and I had done, movies in that
Mm.
kind of realm. So I knew really what to bring to the character and to the performance that would resonate.
It's all filmed in Toronto, right?
Yes.
Toronto area. So how do you feel about being the first LGBTQ relationship or characters in a Hallmark show? Is that exciting for you?
I'm extremely honored.
Mhm.
I can't even describe how exciting and proud I am of this character and the work that, I mean, it was a team effort, right, to make this all happen. And I worked closely with Kat, who plays Joy Harper. We worked with Darren, our showrunner, and the directors, and just the execs at Hallmark. Um, we really worked hard to tell a very special, a very authentic story that would really connect with audiences. I'm really proud of it, and we approached it with much care, much caution, much thought behind it. So at the end of the day, I mean, I think that it's the best work that I've done, the best work that we've done, and I'm really excited for audiences to get to see it unfold on TV.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. We love Kat. We got to talk with her last year. She's so great, and I think it's so far we've just seen your, I guess, meet cute, getting getting her arm stuck in the wall,
Yeah.
which was funny.
What happens?
Yeah, it's
And then a cute
but
firefighter comes to save you.
yeah,
Isn't that how it
hey,
always works?
that's right, and give you tips on what faucet to buy.
Hmm.
Very
Yeah, no,
cool.
the reaction has been so incredible, and I love how excited fans are because I'm just as excited as they are
Mhm.
to see it on screen.
Yeah.
I like to say like I'm the biggest Joey fan. I think I'm like the original, but you know,
Yeah,
the
it's been
fan, I'll
Joey.
give it to the fans. That's fine. But
Yeah, I just saw that hashtag first time today, actually. Team Joey.
Team Joey.
Wait, yeah. It seems like a really fun group. I know it must be kind of intimidating to start in on a show that's been going on for so long, because not only the 6 seasons, but also the movies and everything.
Oh yeah.
Must be a little bit intimidating, but also a
Yeah,
lot of
there's like
fun.
a long history behind it, and it's
Hmm.
it's never easy being the new kid, you know.
Right.
And a lot of times, like if you're playing, excuse me, like characters on shows that have a shorter story arc, like just a couple of episodes, everybody's already been established and they're all friends and they've gotten to know each other. So you're always kind of the new kid on the block. And Kat was really, really lovely helping me out with that, and forming a bond and a friendship with me because she was the new kid last year,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And also, there's extra barriers this year because of COVID. I'm not sure how much they were filming last year, that kind of coincided with COVID, but it's harder to hang out with people because you're all distance on set and everybody has masks on, and
Yeah.
it's a little bit harder, right? But everyone was lovely, and I felt, even just a couple episodes in, I was like, oh, this is my family,
That's
especially
good. Yeah, I
through.
was going to ask about that with shooting with COVID, because you started in October, right?
Yes, we started in October. I started in November, so a month in,
Okay.
and honestly, it was they were so good about making sure we were safe and that we felt safe. We got tested multiple times a week. Um, they had tons of protocols in place to keep us safe, and I never had to worry about anything going into set because I knew that everybody took it really seriously. So I feel very, very fortunate for that.
That's good. Yeah, I was going to ask how that was, what that was like, because I think it would be a challenge with the distancing and with everything. But I mean, it's amazing that they were able to get so much produced last year at Hallmark Channel, whether it's movies or the television shows. It's really incredible.
I know.
Mhm.
Like the just being able to adapt like that. And obviously that comes at a really big cost as well, but
Yeah.
they obviously thought it was worth it. I think one of the
Mhm.
funniest things about working during COVID though is that so you're meeting all of these new people, like the crew, but I don't know what any of them look like. Because
Right.
like I know what their eyes and their hair look like, but God forbid they get a haircut. I have no idea who I'm talking to. If I saw them in the street, I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you who that person was because you kind of get this idea a lot of times of you kind of can guess what somebody looks like with their mask on, and then they
Yeah.
take it off and it's like nothing. It's not even close to what you were
Yeah.
picturing.
That would
So
be like the new thing for Lifetime thrillers will be the
oh my
mask,
goodness. Yes.
the man behind the mask or whatever.
Pitch that, pitch that.
We'll be ready. Lifetime, if you're listening, call us. Well, speaking of thrillers, though, I do have to ask you. So you were in the Toys of Terror on Sci-Fi, and I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, and it was very refreshing because, I watched 115 Christmas movies last year, and it's
Only.
yeah, it's refreshing to have one that's different, and that's a different. They had a couple on Sci-Fi last year, Letters to Satan Claus, which was bonkers,
Mhm.
than Toys of Terror, which was definitely better made and a better movie. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
It was. Thank you. We had
Yeah,
so much fun filming it. And it was like silly
yeah,
and scary.
yeah,
And it was so special. Like the toys were insane.
yeah,
And the talent behind the people making the toys was insane and doing that stop motion.
yeah.
I
For
mean,
the
I
budget
think,
that they had, it was
oh
pretty
my
good.
gosh. Yeah. I
Impressive.
mean, I'm trying to think. So we had the puppeteers come in from LA and they were working on it. Like as soon as the scenes were done and the day was done, they would send all the footage of the toys to LA and they'd be working on it. And I think they said it took like 60 hours to get like 3 minutes of screen time, something
Yeah.
like that. Like craziness. So I just
Yeah.
people watch it, I'm like, they're like, oh, this is weird. I'm like, no, this is old school stop motion animation. And so much work and money was put into this to make
Yeah.
it happen. And how it looks is it's intentional, right? It's a style.
Sure. Yeah.
So I just have so much respect for the people
Yeah.
that like did that. Oh my
It
goodness.
really had that kind of Amblin, kind of Gremlins type of sort of feel to it as far as a monster movie, and just I don't know, it was fun. It really
It was
was.
so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And we got to film that in Winnipeg, which was um it's just a province over from where I am, but it is deadly cold. Deadly
Mm.
cold in the winter.
Yeah,
And we
it
were
did feel cold.
oh my goodness.
It
And we're also
did.
in this drafty old house, right?
Yep.
Uh, but that was filmed in February and we wrapped just before COVID happened. Like
Oh,
we
nice.
flew home and lockdown was like a week later.
Okay.
We were
Yeah.
right under the wire.
Yeah. Well, we like to end our interviews with some fun, silly questions. Not that the previous have not also been silly, but here we go. So, first question, what is the best ice cream flavor?
Okay, right now I am obsessed with Ben and Jerry's Netflix and chilled. It
Okay.
it's brownie pieces, pretzel, peanut butter, and I think that's it. It's I eat the entire thing. I can't stop. It's a problem.
That sounds like a good accompaniment for like watching Bridgerton all night long or something like that
Mhm.
on Netflix.
Worth the stomach ache later. 100%.
Okay.
Highly recommend.
Okay. What is your favorite color?
um, it's purple,
Oh, mine too.
but I like purple and pink, and I also like purple and teal.
Okay. Good,
So
good.
those are my three favorite colors, but purple is the main one with all of the combos. So purple.
Okay. What music are you into right now?
Right now, I am okay, I'm obsessed with TikTok.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of where I get all my new music now. Um, Olivia Rodrigo,
Okay. Yeah.
her new song, Good For You, is so nostalgic for me. And I don't know if you've heard it, it's incredible. And I
Yeah.
can't wait to listen to her album. But I feel like all of the millennials are like loving this because it's so nostalgic for them. But she's like, I don't know, 19 or 20. So it's kind of a cool mix
Yeah.
of generations happening. So I'm really into her. I love her voice and her vibe right now.
Cool. All right. We used to say, what is your go-to date night food? But since we're not dating hardly it anymore, we say, what is your, would be like your DoorDash order?
Okay, well, I got it just before getting on this call with you.
Yeah.
So we've been really into getting Hakka food.
What is
Have you had
that?
Hakka before?
No.
It's like it's Chinese fusion. So it's like a mix of Chinese food and Guyanese food, and I think a little bit of Indian as well.
Oh,
And it's so good. So I've been getting the chili fish with rice, and it has a special place in my heart. I've been eating a lot of that
that's
these days.
that sounds good. That's good. Well, once we're back out doing things again, what would you be your date night activity going out?
Ooh, date night activity. That is a great question. It always has to involve food. So I would love to do like all you can eat sushi. I've been dying to go back to that
Mm,
because all you can eat is just not a thing anymore.
right.
Um, and then I'd like to, hmm, something outdoors because
Yeah.
we've been indoors for so long. Like I'm really chill. I would love to just have a picnic in the park with some music,
Get some sushi, go to
some
a
sushi,
concert in the
some
park.
wine, and just
Yeah.
hang out and enjoy the sun and enjoy nature. I'm really low key.
Sounds
My
good to
husband might
me.
disagree, but I think I
Yeah.
am.
Okay. Dogs or cats?
Cats, I have two.
Oh, very good. Beaches or mountains?
Beaches,
Okay. Would you rather be in a fancy dress or sweats?
sweats, always, all day.
More people are saying fancy dress these days
Because
we've
they're
all
so
been,
starved
because it's just
for.
a sign of that you're doing something, you're out of the house. But
Well, I'll tell you
yeah.
something. On Good Witch, I in an episode, I will not say which one,
Uh-huh.
I get to wear this fantastic outfit.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they gave me the option. They were like, you can keep this fancy outfit,
Uh-huh.
or you can take like some regular clothes. But you can't have both.
Right.
I said, okay. And I went for the regular clothes
Yeah.
because I was like, I don't know when or where I'm going to be able to wear this again. And I chose the more practical option because it
Uh-huh.
was it was comfier and it made sense. So
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
All right. What's your favorite holiday to celebrate?
uh tie between Easter and Christmas.
Oh, good.
We have
Okay, good.
very intense traditions in
I
my
don't hear
family.
Easter brought up that often, but it's a fun one.
Well,
Yeah.
we do an Easter egg hunt. We go
Hmm.
all out, and
Yeah.
then there's always arguments because people, somebody will find somebody else's egg, and they'll be like, "Oh, Kiana, it's over here," and then I'll get mad. I'll be like, "Don't tell me where it is. You're ruining it." And then after the hunt, we all sit down and we do what we call negotiations. So we divide up the candy and we say, "Okay, I want 3 of your fuzzy peaches for 2 of my chocolate bars," and
Yeah.
we do negotiations over the table. So it's a very proud tradition that we have.
So if Hallmark's looking to try another Easter movie, they should call you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We're all ready.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Last question. What is your favorite Hallmark or romantic movie?
Ooh.
I know, tough.
My favorite romantic movie of all time, it has to be The Notebook, and maybe that's a boring basic answer,
Mm,
but it gets me every time, right in the
yeah.
feels.
Hmm.
I think the acting is incredible, the story is beautiful, and I'll never get tired of watching it.
Yeah. It's the beginning of the sad case of James Marsden never getting the girl.
Oh my gosh. That is so true. Is that a trend? Is that like,
Yeah, I mean, it's in the X-Men movies. He doesn't get the girl. Like, there's a whole bunch.
I never thought about it, but you're right.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
unfortunate. He's so handsome.
I know.
That's unfortunate. You think he gets every girl all the time, but wow. All right.
Only in 27 Dresses. That's the only one where he gets the girl.
He'll hold on to that.
Yeah. Well, very good. You passed the test, answered all the questions.
Ooh, thank you. Mutton.
So, do you have social media or anything like that that you'd like to share?
I do, yeah. So I'm on Instagram at Kyana.Teresa, Kyana.Teresa. And I'm on Twitter at Kyana Teresa, no dot.
Great. And you can
Yeah.
find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And also make sure you're following the podcast to Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave us your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group and merch store. All the information for that, it will be in the description. Please take a look. And thank you so much, Kyana. This was really fun to get to talk with you. And we're excited to see what happens with Team Joey.
Thank you
Good
so
Witch.
much. I can't wait either. And it was so great getting to chat with you.
Yeah. All right. Well, let us know if you're listening what you think of all the things we talked about. And yeah, we'll hopefully be able to have you on again, maybe later for that Christmas movie. That would be fun.
Yes, definitely.
All right. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.